morning. How is everyone on this beautiful Friday? Wonderful, wonderful. Well, welcome, and thank you for joining us this morning. We'll go ahead and get started. I'll find my pointer.
There you go. There you go. Mary's got your back.
Perfect. Thank you, Mary. Pastoral care update. Heather, please take it away.
Thank you. Good morning. Morning. It reminds me of Sunday school. I love that. Well, this morning I wanted to share a little bit about one of my favorites, one of my top 10 Bible verses, and I superimposed it on, that's actually National Lutheran Drive. So, every once in a while, you get the glory clouds and you got to pull over and take a picture. So, and I'm going to start a couple of verses ahead at Romans 8:26. Likewise, the Spirit helps us in our weakness, for we do not know how to pray as we ought, but that very Spirit intercedes for us with sighs too deep for words. And God, who searches the heart, knows what is the mind of the Spirit, because the Spirit indeed intercedes for the saints according to the will of God. We know that all things work together for good, for those who love God and who are called according to God's purpose. You know, as a clergy person for like 32, 33, I don't know, a while, sometimes somebody will come up to you and go, will you pray for good weather this weekend? No rain. Or, will you pray my team wins? And the first thing I do is point out that God is a local call for everybody, so they can pray too. But when somebody asks me, gosh, will you keep it from raining? I think about the farmer who's desperate for more water. And I know that there are plenty of people on both sides of any athletic contest who are praying for their team to win. So I think that, that one's a toss-up. But my point is that our experiences, even our experiences together, are varied. And we experience them differently. But the blessing is that we are able to do so together and to draw upon the strength that God gifted us in this thing called human relationship, community, friendship. A lot of people read that verse and think, probably wish fulfillment think, I must say, that it says, if you love God, only good things are going to happen to you. Do you think that's what it says? We wish, right? No, what it is trying to tell us is that God never afflicts us to bless us, but when afflictions come, God is so deeply involved in our lives. God cares about us so much that even the rain will be put to God's good purpose. So whether we are praying for sunshine or whether we are praying for rain, no matter what weather comes, we have the support and the love of the Holy One who has promised to always be with us. And one of the ways that we see that is through community. I was just enjoying looking out at all of your faces a few minutes ago and thinking about each one of you and how blessed we are to have you. I am blessed to be here amongst you, and you are blessed to be here with each other. Our greatest strength is the fact that we are a community. And I pray that God will continue to strengthen us and to bless us. Let's pray. Gracious God, many of the journeys of life in this room have been long and they have all been varied. There has been sunshine and rain and a few potholes, but through it all you are with us. Help us to see the blessings that you give us, to share the blessings that you give us, and always to take care of this precious gift of community. We pray this in your name. Amen.
All right, if you have any questions that you think of throughout the meeting today, please go ahead and give this number a call, and Heather will be manning the phones for us. Thank you, Heather. All right. Before we get started with executive remarks today and into the standard business of our town hall meeting, I would like to welcome National Lutheran CEO Cindy Walters to say a few words.
Good morning, everyone. As Shannon had mentioned, I am Cindy Walters, the President and CEO of National Lutheran. But more importantly, for those of you who have never met me, and this may be the first time you're seeing me here, I have been with Orchard Ridge for 13 years, ever since before we opened. I was here every step of the way with the organization, starting as a consultant, helping to develop all of the opening and operational aspects of the community. I was then the Chief Operating Officer for a couple of years before I became the CEO. So I am here with you in today's understanding that it's a very emotional time for all of us. That there's things that have happened over the last month that have been very tumultuous for each one of us, things that none of us will ever have all of the answers for, but that doesn't mean that we haven't stayed strong as a community, but also as a leadership team for you all as residents here at Orchard Ridge. So know that in the past month, this team has had the empowerment that Stephen has left for them over the last year and a half, and the things that he's done to prepare them for situations like we've been in the last month. This team, I am proud to say, has been able to keep up with everything that has been happening here at Orchard Ridge. And in saying that, as we move forward, know that we all recognize we have a lot of work that we need to continue to do, and there's a lot of change that all of us are facing right now. And with that change right now, it comes a lot of emotion, but also with that change comes a lot of opportunity. So please, please, if you can be patient with us, and you can see everything that's going to be presented here today from this leadership team, and know that we want to celebrate Stephen, and we want to be able to honor his legacy and honor everything that he has done over the year and a half that he was here with us to create this environment that you have today and be able to propel it into the future. So I just wanted to say that before we start the meeting, and Shannon, I'll turn it back over to you to begin to talk about the
Thank you, Cindy. All right, let's get started with executive remarks. I want to talk a little bit about the construction right now. We are targeting for an early July completion of Phase 1A and Phase 1B due to the inclusion of additional scope of work. I know that the original completion plan date was in May. We have added quite a bit to the scope, like the library, hard for surface areas, courts, and so on, that is going to extend that full opening of our renovation into July. We're still looking at what this means as far as maybe or potentially opening up the lobby prior to the library reopening, but we're still looking at that. I don't want to push for something before we have a completion or something that's going to hinder the completion date or push it out any further. We are currently working on the build back in preparation underway for those hard surface areas, including the court's fireplace, built-in features behind the concierge and the security desk. Bathrooms are being prepped and ready for tile installation. This should take place next week. Painting, carpet installation in the business center, bank, mailroom, connected living offices is scheduled to begin the first week of June. We will send out information at least no later than a week and a half prior to that starting, so residents will be able to make accommodations to still be able to enter the mailroom, what we're going to do to coordinate access into those areas so we can continue with regular daily business. Our goal is always to least affect the daily activities of those that are here. So we'll have more information to come in regards to that. The administration suite will also follow that. Again, additional details to follow. All right. This is in regards to the sales. Our next sales event for prospective residents will be held on June 12th in the chapel. Fear of moving out will be the topic of this discussion. Resident survey, I know we talked about this at last town hall. We'll have an 8-question pulse survey that will follow up to the October annual survey if everyone remembers doing that in the fall. And this just follows up on some opportunities that were identified in that October survey. So please look for a link in early June. Tech support will be available for that event. All right? Oh, and my absolute favorite topic, hard water. I feel like I've been talking about hard water for years now. But I am happy to say that we are kind of reaching that deadline. We have had multiple issues with this water vault in our soft water system, I think since I started, honestly. We did a complete rebuild of all of the valves and all of the tanks last year, only to find out upon completion of that we had to replace the main electrical module. We have a contractor that has been working on this over the last several weeks. We're in the final stretch waiting for that module to come in. The contractor has been working to retrofit that vault, preparing it for that module once it comes in. We're still looking at a full completion date, probably towards the end of May, early June for that. Once that happens, we expect water to return to normal. Normal being our softened water throughout. And I do know that we have had a lot of issues. There's been a lot of equipment, appliances in apartments, not just the stuff that affects us on a larger grade, but the day-to-day stuff that affects residents. And we will continue working through work orders, even once the water softener is repaired and up and running properly. We know there's still cleaning to do. There's still going to be tasks that we're going to be on top of, probably for the next several months until we are 100% back to where we need to be with that. The other good news is that once we get this fixed, the water vault itself, the water softener system is up to date. So any repairs that are needed, preventative maintenance that we will have on place, we'll be able to make those repairs in real time, without these lengthy wait times that we've had. Annual fire alarm testing, our favorite time of the year, because we don't hear enough fire alarms around here. Scheduled for Monday, June 2nd through Friday, June 6th. We will send out a notice before the Friday fire alarm to let everybody know they can stay situated. We will not be running around the building saying, please get out. No, you can stay in for this. There'll be a test, but please know that we will send out a schedule of this. I believe it actually already went out on Touchdown, but the fire alarm companies will need to go and have gain access to your apartments. It's only for a few quick minutes just to make sure that your individual detectors are working properly. Power washing and window washing. We're looking for this to start the week of June 15th. It usually takes 3 to 4 weeks depending on the work that's necessary here. We'll be sending out a more detailed schedule once we have it from our contractor where they're going to start. But please remember when we do so, we'll send out some notes as well, making sure you clean off your patios, your balconies and porches to avoid any kind of damage.
Does that include cottages?
Yes, it will include cottages. Yes, I believe power washing of the main independent living building, brick and facade will be this year. Last year we power washed the cottages, but the windows and such will still be washed in the cottages this year. I'm trying to include those gutter cleanings as we did last year too. That may be part of what extends it out to that 4th week. Upcoming filter changes and seasonal maintenance will be starting on May 19th. Beginning May 19th, we will initiate our semi-annual filter changes and seasonal maintenance. This process will be carried out over the course of 1 to 2 weeks. That includes the maintenance as follows: air filter replacements, so full system filter and resident room filters, exterior faucet activation. If you want this done ahead of time, just give us a call, put in a work order, and we can head out there to make sure that we get your faucets up and running. Exterior faucets, humidifier shutoffs, and we'll start with cottages and move inside of the main building. Each day will be split between filter changes and general work orders. This is so we can maintain workflow efficiency, so we don't fall back on those work orders that come in on a regular basis, and we can be as efficient as possible. And we look for it to take 1 to 2 weeks. Last thing I have here is Memorial Day housekeeping services. We will be providing full housekeeping services for Memorial Day, which is Monday, May 26th. If you wish to cancel your services for the holidays, please reach out to Facilities Coordinator Kaylee Strotterman no later than Thursday, May 22nd, so we can finalize schedules. If we do have cancellations, we try to push things forward to allow our team members, the ability to leave early to spend time with their families on holidays. All right. Thank you so much. Dining services.
Morning, everybody. Full house today. So updates regarding the staffing, we are still hiring 2 full-time cooks. It's been a little bit challenging the last 2 weeks with some absences, and Charlie's been in vacations, but she really enjoyed her time off.
She's not allowed to have time off.
I wanted to bring that up because we have been experiencing some mismatch in the system, and that it has been causing some troubles when we are doing some changes on our regular schedules or programs, such pasta station or some other programs where when we are not doing MTO menus. And when we were doing some, like for Sundays, when we do breakfast, the reservation time that you are seeing in your end are not the same as we are seeing in our end. So we had to call to full count, and it was resolved. So right now we are working in a better system with them to be able to disconnect, disconnect the menu easily on the system in your end when we do like events that are not allowing people to do MTO orders. Because right now it's a manual and it's kind of tricky solution that we do. Melissa goes there and trying to make a reservation for 100 people for herself. That way we block everything. But because it's a manual action, then it becomes an issue if she or somebody else forget to do it. So what we are trying to do with Full Count is to have the availability to just click a button in our end and disconnect the menu for that day. That way it's not causing trouble in your end. In talking about pasta station schedule, and I needed to bring it to the whole community again because the miscommunication is again causing trouble. The idea is every other week, Thursdays, and we are alternating between lunch and dinner. So yesterday was dinner. 2 more Thursdays, it will be lunch. That is the idea. There are some rumors about having the pasta station the whole day. It may be, but it's not what is happening for now, right? So anytime that we do pasta station, because we are using the cooks to be with you outside, serving you and making the pasta for you, we are not doing MTO menu. And in that aspect, I would like to ask you for some patience and help. Every time that we are doing pasta station, we are not doing MTO, even when the system in your end is saying that. So we're working on that, right? We are working on that to have a solution and just click the button and say no MTO, period. But at the meantime, I would like to be very clear. Pasta station meaning no MTO, okay?
But Esteban, what about the special? Because the special was supposed to be yesterday, it's old, and then.
Right, so that's a good question, and thank you for bringing that up. Again, it's the same explanation. The cooks are working outside for you. They are been working in the prep, building up the pasta, and all of that. So we pretty much cleaning the line on the back. We're not using the line, so we're not cooking any made to order menu, even the specials.
But it was announced that it would be.
So that's
And people were very upset.
communication part. So thank you for bringing that up. So no MTO, no special when pasta station is on. Today is a National Barbecue Day, and it's a very nice day. Hopefully it doesn't rain later on, but if it does, you wanna have to remain inside. If it don't rain, you will be welcome to go outside and take your plate with you if you want.
No rain today.
No rain, that's good. 4 p.m. to 6:30, garden room, no MTO menu again. And just to, yes, ma'am.
And on Connected Living, it says 4 to 5. Is
I-
it 4 to 6:30 or
I-
4 to 5?
4 to 6:30. So I just saw when I was getting into the building, I saw the big TV in the corner over there, and I saw the slide on touchdown, it says 4 to 6:30. So I don't know where,
On the schedule, it's 4 to 5.
okay, so we can get with Connected Living and do
We'll do a better job of looking into that to make sure that what goes out and dining coordinates for what we have online. Yeah, and if we could please just hold off on questions for a few minutes, we'll get through the slides and then we'll have time for question and answer at the end.
And MTO, for those that doesn't know, meaning menu to order, right? And we are launching a new menu. It's, you know, it's not a whole change, but we are updating some items this coming Monday. So for that reason, we will not doing a special for the next week. That way the cooks get familiar with the new items. And I believe that's all that I have. Thank you.
I just wanted to say too, if you haven't had the opportunity to go to the pasta bar, please make time to do that. Not only is it absolutely delicious, it's made to order for everyone that's there, but it also gives such a wonderful opportunity to talk to, get the behind the scene cooks that you don't get to see every day and really see what skills they have. So please make time to go out and check that out. It's a great program that they're doing. All right, Miss Christie, purple hair,
Morning.
sweater.
For those that don't know me, I'm Christy. I'm the director of My Potential, which is the home care agency in the building. There's my information. You can find me next to the salon on the second floor. You have any questions, you can call sorry, I ate the microphone. You can call the number at the bottom. Next slide, Mary. Our activities this month, the blood pressure clinic will be next Tuesday from 12 to 2. And my Name That Tune game is Wednesday, the 21st, from 2 to 3 in the boardroom. The blood pressure clinic will be in our office, so everybody come by and see me. That's it.
Thank you, Miss Christie.
Thank you, guys.
All right, Engage Center, Sarah.
Good morning, everybody. I just have a few exciting updates from the Engage Center. So today at 1 o'clock, we have our first Kitten Corner of the season. It's happening in the Engage Center lobby, so stop by to snuggle with adorable kittens or speak with the SPCA about potential adoption opportunities. On Tuesday, May 20th at 1 p.m., join us for the ribbon cutting ceremony of our our new outdoor activity space near the ice patio. Enjoy game tutorials led by resident liaisons, fresh fruit, and a toast with celebratory mimosas provided by dining. It's the perfect way to learn, connect, and celebrate together. Next, on Friday, May 23rd at 12 p.m., we are heading out for an active outing to Cool Springs Battlefield Loop. It's a 2.7-mile scenic walk with the option to explore a waterfall, followed by lunch at Bear Chase Brewery. Pre-registration is required for that as well. On Wednesday, May 28th at 11 a.m., we are celebrating National Senior Fitness Day at Jim Barnett Park. So enjoy a morning of pickleball, optional light outdoor games, fresh air, relaxing strolls, followed by a laid-back picnic lunch. Pre-registration is required. Next, on Friday, June 20th, save the date for our Senior Fitness Testing Day. This annual event helps track your wellness progress and is held in partnership with BJ, Director of Therapy, who will join me now to share more details. Pre-registration is required and currently available in the pre-registration notebook in the Get Connected Information Center.
Thank you, Sarah.
Good morning, everybody. It's good to see you. So a lot of you may remember from last year we did senior fitness testing. The purpose of this is it's a group of tests that tests, in fact, if you go to the next slide, Mary, the next one after that. It tests a lot of different things of our body. It tests upper body strength, tests our balance, lower body strength, speed, agility, physical stamina, static, and cognition. This is a group of tests that is standardized, and we will give you a report on how you did on those tests. We generally do this at the beginning of each calendar year, but a lot of you will remember therapy used to be contracted, and part of that was the software that ran this stayed with that contract company. We now own that software, and it took us a few months to get everything uploaded and onboarded there, but we are now ready to offer this senior fitness testing to you. The purpose of this is to be able to test every year or whenever you want and see how you're doing compared to whatever your baseline is. Perhaps you were tested last year, that would be your baseline. And we would test you again this year, a report would be printed out, put in your mailbox, and the results will be compared to how you did last year. If you did not participate in the testing last year, this year will be your baseline. And we can test you at any point. It does not have to be during senior fitness testing, which occurs once a year. We can test you after a major life event. Maybe you had a knee replaced, and after your therapy, you want to see where you are physically. Are you at your baseline where you were before? These are the sort of reasons why we have this senior fitness testing. As Sarah mentioned, it is by pre-registration. It will be here in the chapel. We learned from last year we need a little bit more space, a little more breathing room. But we would encourage any of you to sign up for that, any and all of you to sign up for that. This is a great way, again, for you to know where you are compared to national norms and be able to compare where you will be in the future compared to this year. One of the changes that will occur this year, for those of you that attended last year, is we will not be doing the in-body testing. That took a little bit of time and created a little bit of a line at that event. So Sarah will be doing that. She offers that anytime. You just have to sign up with her. There are some things that you need to do to prepare for that in-body testing. But you can see all the things that we are going to test this year. And we're happy to do it. We're excited. We have about 30 to 40 more slots this year than we had last year. We're going to get some student volunteers from Shenandoah to come in and help us out. So hopefully we'll be efficient, quick, and you'll get your results within a week or two after that testing. All right.
And to add on to what BJ said about the in-body testing, I will be providing opportunities to schedule that at the senior fitness testing, but you're also encouraged to get with us in the Engage Center and start scheduling your in-bodies now in preparation for the scan so you can kind of compare the results of your body composition to the results of your senior fitness test. So we're looking forward to seeing you at these events. Thank you for being an active part of our community. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sarah, BJ. All right. Gary Tusing, where are you, sir? Come on up here.
Hi, Gary. I'm really sorry that I couldn't be here today, but I did want to make sure that I congratulate you and wish you the best. Thank you for your 9 years of service with the transportation department. We really appreciate everything that you have done for the residents and the team members here. You will be greatly missed. And I wish you the best of fun and adventures to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Gary.
Y'all are going to make me cry. It truly has been an honor and a pleasure to have transported many of you, and an honor and pleasure to have met the rest of you. I know I've made a lot of friends. So we're planning on moving in a couple of years. It'll probably take that long to get the clutter cleared out, if you know what I mean. So May the 9th was 9 years, so I took that as an omen that was probably a good time to bid farewell to you all, and God bless.
All right, I'm going to do my best to put my Lauren Glenn hat on here and talk about resident experience updates. Thank you to everyone who helped make Apple Blossom 2025 such a success. A lot of people here, if you were involved in anything, it was just so much fun this year. So thank you for everyone. We are actively searching for the coordinator, and it's going well. I know Lauren has had several applicants, and she started the interview process. So I know they hope to come to a conclusion very soon in that. Upcoming events can be found on the community app and on the information wall. And a reminder that the weekly calendar, pre-registration sheets, and flyers go out on Wednesday by 3 p.m. for the following week. Please let us know kindly if you see any errors on Touchdown community app, flyers, or pre-registration sheets. We don't always catch everything, so thank you for that. The coordinator position that's available in Connected Living is to replace Sierra Smith, who left us last month. So Lauren has been actively seeking that position and interviewing candidates over the last month. All right, transportation. Business hours for transportation are 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Patience is requested due to the increase in use. You may have to wait for pickups. I believe Lauren was telling me that I think they do sometimes up to 150 transportations on a regular basis. Correct me if I'm wrong, anybody, but that really shocked me, just the amount that they have done and how much that has increased over the last year to year and a half. Custom transportation occurs when a request is non-medical, outside of normal business hours, and further than 10 miles. Shuttles for Martin's, Walmart, and Pleasant Valley. Residents must sign up in advance. Riders will be scheduled in order. They appear on a sign-in sheet, and if you are placed on a wait list, you will be contacted if a spot becomes available. Please note, these shuttle rides are intended for residents who no longer drive or do not own a vehicle. For additional transportation support, the Neighbor to Neighbor program is also available. Please see information wall for details. Transportation information and guidelines can be found on the community app. All right, thank you everybody. We got a cute little puppy there, so now it's time for question and answers. So we'll go around the room if anyone has some questions. Yes, and please wait for the microphone.
Since we just spoke about transportation, where are we in hiring a driver? We've known for over a month that we needed one, and this is a priority for a lot of us. And these men do such an incredible job, but we need another driver, and I'd like to know where we are in the process of hiring.
I'm not sure right now where Lauren is with this, but I'm sure we'll have information to come on where we are. I'm positive. Usually as soon as we know someone is leaving, we get the ball rolling. I don't know if Mary can answer a little bit of this for us. Mary says we are doing a lot of interviews. It just takes time to search through and to make sure that we have the right candidate for our community.
Hi, I would just like to clarify, the Neighbor to Neighbor program will be happy to pick something up for a resident, but we do not accept requests to drive residents. And this was made clear when we were putting together the Neighbor to Neighbor program due to liability issues. So I just wanted to correct that. Thanks.
Thank you.
What's the status of a non-medical request less than 10 miles?
Again, I do apologize, I don't have the information, and Lauren not being here today, but we can get that out to you. I'll make sure to relay that back to her and get answers for you.
I use my smartphone a lot, and I think in the future, you're gonna have more people like me. The community apps are poor, and we've already, it was already referenced how it doesn't work for you either. So it'd really be worthwhile to get that fixed. Now, many times when I'm looking at the menu, it says refer to the flyer. Why can't the flyer be on there so I can refer to it wherever I am instead of having to go to the desk there to see what is on the flyer? And then we go start chatting and somebody says, well, was there any dessert with those? You know, I'm like, well, I don't know, I looked at it, but I don't remember. So if I had it on my phone, I could answer that phone message.
Very good point. I think that we can start doing that.
I would say that is a work that we have to do between Connected Living and us. But now that we are planning to refresh the MTO menu, I was thinking to send the community the PDF so you can all have it, right, in your cell phone easily. It's not gonna be an app, but at least a document that you can see it on your cell phone.
2 years ago, when I came to one of these meetings, I could recognize 3/4 of the people in the room. Today, I don't recognize half of them. The reason for that is I don't have a book at home with names, pictures, addresses, and phone numbers. I know it was squashed because we didn't have the budget for it. And that's a pretty lousy excuse when we're spending millions to fix the place up. I would like to see that back, and if you want to charge us $10 and take it out of Flex, I don't think any of us would mind. I think it's one of the biggest things that causes this community to grow together. Picture a new person coming in, they move into their apartment, they look at the apartment next door, get a name off, and they have no way of knowing who that is. They can't look up and see a picture. We need that book.
Again, I just want to say too, we do take these things into consideration. I know we make changes based on needs that we see fit, but as we move forward, we always take into consideration the comments and commentary, and feedback from residents. It is on the app too, so if you scroll down on the app, you can see that.
I beg to differ. I am Ali Felder, if you don't know me. I'm half of the Welcome team. And one of the battles that we've been fighting for the last 8 months is trying to get pictures put into the resident directory and the staff directory for that matter. But there's been a decision taken not to do that. So now we've got a whole bunch of blobs. So you can look up a name, but all you see is a blob.
I've been here for about a year. My name is Joyce Sawyer. I've been in every place that you can be in here. I actually came to assisted living from memory care. I see these people working in these places with not enough help. It concerns me greatly. I used to be a nurse, and there's things that are being missed. We really need to look at that.
Just rewinding really quick to the community apps on that too, I just want to reiterate that we do have to have permission from every resident, which we do not always get. Not all new incoming residents get permission for their photos to be uploaded, and we are working to schedule another opportunity for pictures for residents, so we can schedule for residents to come in and either have their pictures updated or new pictures to be taken.
For
those of us who have lived here for 12 years. Stephen is the 4th director that we've had here. I think it bespeaks of needing to look at the process of how we choose candidates. I don't know if it can be improved, but nonetheless, it does not bode well for our community to have had 4 directors in 12 years. I also wanted to point out, this is the newest brochure that is available at the front entrance. The bottom line on the back page says, "The Village at Orchard Ridge is affiliated with National Lutheran Communities and Services, a faith-based, not-for-profit ministry of the Evangelical Lutheran Church in America, serving people of all beliefs. For those of us who bought in here, because this is a faith-based community, I want to know how we are currently walking out our faith and what we need to do to improve that in the future." Thank you.
I can tell you that we take the interview process extremely serious here, and I know that, you know, it's going to be a tall order to fill Stephen's shoes and to move forward, but I can tell you that I know that we're going to take, you know, the time, look at necessary candidates, and find the best person to be able to lead us here at Orchard Ridge.
I'm Ann Felder. I'm the other half of the welcome team. In terms of photos, or which we politely call them blobs now, particularly on Touchtown, when we first got here a year ago, January, our salesperson said she had to take a picture for us for safety, and that would be uploaded, and if we wanted to change it ourselves, we could do it later. Along the way, we were then instructed that it took, well, I don't even know the reason. We were instructed as the welcome team that staff would not be doing that photo. We do it as often as we can, but right now with the community full, we're getting potentially 1 or 2 people in a month as opposed to 8 last summer. So there's no way we can catch up on those photos. And we get emails asking for photos and who are the new people. So I think it's extremely important, and if you base it on a photo for safety purposes and let the new residents know that they can change it later very easily, but we have less than 50% in Uniguest right now, we went through it, have photos. And we have the information, we don't have photos. And as a community, I think we really need those photos back by staff.
We're looking to get that corrected. I appreciate your commentary.
Sue Murray here. I would like to address the issue of continually referring to the app. We are here because we're aging. And there are things that impact us as we age, that impact our ability to access computers, apps on smartphones, and so on and so forth. Some of them are physical, some of them are mental, some of them are visual. And to totally rely on a digital communication is a real disservice to the community.
On that note, I can say that we're always looking for different opportunities for communication. Communication is always going to be a challenge. It's always going to be a hurdle. And we do our best to try to make sure that it reaches out to everybody. Is what we're doing perfect all the time? Absolutely not. But are we always looking for opportunities to improve that in ways that reach everybody? Yes, that is always going to be our end goal with this, regardless if it's we try to move away from the paper because that also doesn't reach everybody. Digital communications is the forefront of where we are. However, I do understand that that doesn't reach everyone. We've done a lot of work trying to make sure that we get these emergency communications out, and again, are looking at new initiatives, new programs, new processes, to make sure that everything that we have to get out reaches everybody here in our community.
I just want to add something positive. Memorial Day is a week after Monday, the 26th. The Music Men, our own folks from Tibor, are putting on a program at 11 o'clock Monday morning here in the chapel to honor those in Memorial Day, and you're certainly all invited.
I just wanted to clarify something on the photographs. The salespeople and the organization need photographs of the residents for internal purposes. But as you know, on their documents, when they come in, they have the right to say, I don't want it published, and have it kept only internally. So that's where the rub lies, really. We're trying to get people to voluntarily have better photos and more photos. And we will be scheduling a photo session very, very soon. And actually could use your help, Ann, to get the word out about that. Thank you.
Thanks, Susan.
We're switching back and forth here on topics that I don't know. I guess I'll talk on both. On the photo side, you're not doing a complete job or a good job with putting it on paper or putting it online. So none of us have a good record, in my opinion.
We can always do better. Again, I know I sound like a broken rhetoric saying that, but we can and we are. Thank you.
But what I really wanted to say is I've heard a lot of, I don't know, grumbling, it might be too soft a word, about getting rid of Stephen and Sarah. And we don't know why, and we probably don't need to know why, but it was done, and reference to the Hatchet lady that spoke for a few minutes earlier. I don't know this. I've only been here 3 years. I'm not familiar with how it is. I know you need a proper person to get rid of employees that you want to get rid of, but I don't understand, and many of us don't understand what's going on and why you got rid of those two when they seem to be in the top group of employees here. They cared about us. They worked with us.
I'm going to halt this right now because I think this is better placed for an outside conversation. This is a forum for positive communication. I understand your concerns.
But there are a lot of people that feel this way that I've heard. And another thing, some people are afraid that if they bring it up, they'll be kicked out of here.
That is absolutely
I don't believe that's true.
No.
And I assured them that I didn't think it was true.
There is never a plan to get rid of anybody as far as team members go, never a plan to get rid of residents ever. Speaking on employment, at the end of the day, we're in your homes. I understand that. But this is a business. Privacy we owe the privacy for Stephen. We owe the privacy for any exiting employee here, and what the circumstances and speculation around that is, we can't speak about that. Those are private matters. I don't think anybody here takes it lightly when someone leaves. This goes as far for team members as well. We are a very close-knit group. It's hard sometimes to see a friend, a fellow coworker leave, but again, at the end of the day, we're running a business. I can tell you that you're in good hands. I can tell you that we are on track. I can tell you that we're not going to skip a beat in what we're doing here. This does not stop any of the incentives that Stephen put in place. And, as far as being out to get someone, that is never, ever, ever, a thought in our minds. I can't speak to someone's employment. I can't speak to the reasons why somebody left. Cindy's not able to speak to that. Again, those are private matters. I know that we've put cards up at the front that can go to Stephen, that he can read, that you can put your well wishes to him, and we all wish him the best in his future endeavors.
It will not serve any of us if we continue this negativity, because as you mentioned, sir, it was your feeling. None of us know exactly what is going on with individuals who are employed here and make choices outside of here. So please understand that, and to call me the hatchet woman, I mean, that's pretty unfair. So, thank you.
Please, let's be kind. Please.
When Diane mentioned the number of directors we've had since it started, if you look at the national average for executive directors in nonprofit retirement communities, it's 5 to 8 years. So our average is way under that. So I think somebody needs to understand why our duration of executive directors is so low. And it may be, the people we hire, but it may be something else entirely that needs to be understood. And I felt bad since we lost Stephen. But I'm very interested in understanding. I think it would help me if we talked about what the opportunities that were mentioned at the beginning are. If these are opportunities, then let's talk about them. What are those opportunities we should be celebrating or looking forward to?
And let's look at one opportunity. Let's look at one opportunity in particular. If indeed, and I'm not saying that any of the change that you all have seen over the last 12 years were intentional. It wasn't like we hired an executive director and only expected them to be with us for a few years. There's a lot of extenuating circumstances that happen as people move through their careers. But what I would say to you all, if we didn't have the change we had, we would have never met Stephen. And Stephen was a very positive influence in this community, and he did a lot for us. And I don't want to lose sight of that. But absolutely, we hear you all, and we understand fully, and there's nothing more that we want than that continuity and that retention in our leadership team. Fortunately, we have that retention in the leadership team you have as your senior leadership team. That we have, and I think we're all experiencing what positivity that has created for us as we go forward.
Thank you, Cindy.
I think Diane's statement beautifully clarified what many of us feel. And one of the things she mentioned was that the process by which our executive directors are chosen has to be examined. Now, there's a consequence of examining such a process. On the far end, you would get people to resign. These people who are making these executive decisions about our director, if they're failing to recognize the qualities of what we can offer as well as what the executive director candidate can offer, then they're not doing a good job. I feel from this meeting that there's a lot more concern and support and love for Stephen Nastasi than is being expressed. I feel incredibly strongly about Stephen and Sierra. I found Sierra to be a fantastic staff member as well. I've been here 8 years now, and I've seen 3 executive directors. I happen not to think very highly of the first 2. I think extremely highly of our unique opportunities to go ahead with Stephen. I just can't believe you can find a leader like that. And somehow we came upon Stephen and we appointed him.
but there's something going on that kept Stephen from maintaining his contract with us. I feel very sad, extremely sad about these personnel problems. And I think they really hurt us as a community. And I think the senior executives have to find a way to improve, really improve what you're doing, to give us 2 poor ones and 1 fantastic one, but lose the fantastic one. Thank you.
Thank you. As Shannon, as you all saw as well, in some of the communications that Craig Wagner had given, and Craig would have been here with us all if he could have, not for recovering from his knee surgery. But right now, we are in the process, after hearing this news, we are in the process of working to identify the appropriate interim executive director to assist Shannon and the team until we're able to recruit, and making sure that we're very methodical and we approach it the correct manner, again, involving residents as we've done in the past, to make the right decision for the next leader of the organization. So no, we are already starting the work process on that, and I'm sure the communication of that will happen through Craig Wagner. He'll let you all know as he works through that.
So we'll have someone here to help out.
That is correct. That is correct. Yes. Shannon has been doing an awesome job helping with this. But we all know her bandwidth is only so, she can only do so much, and we want to make sure that she has, not to mention, this whole team knows they have the support of those of us in the home office at National Lutheran. There's 21 of us in that home office. All of us have a passion for the mission and want to be helpful in any way we can here. So, yes.
Any further questions?
I just want to follow up with what you said about Shannon, and I'm really glad that you're getting her help, because she's been under a lot of pressure with a lot of extra things that have been going on here. I was involved very intimately with the water damage that was done, and I know how hard she had to work on that. A lot of people don't realize how difficult that was for her, in addition to all her everyday tasks. So thank you for getting her some help. I could worry about her.
Yes.
Can you hear me okay? My voice isn't so good. I'm just curious, I've been here since the end of October. Who decides the long-range plan for the construction of Orchard Ridge? Does the director have anything to do with it? Or is it the national office? It's been exciting to see what's going on, and I'm curious who decides about the future.
Sure. The question that was just raised here in the front was, who decides the long-range planning and the future of Orchard Ridge? And I would say to you all that answer has a couple of different aspects to it. Number one, we have a board here at the Village of Orchard Ridge. Our board consists of 6 members, I being one of them. We also have a resident, Gail Mazzacco, who is a member of that board. And that board develops the strategic long-range master plan for the Village of Orchard Ridge in conjunction with the National Lutheran Board. In other words, the National Lutheran Board looks for recommendations from the Village of Orchard Ridge Board as it relates to some of the long-range planning and master planning that we do here as a community. How does the board here at the Village of Orchard Ridge know what to recommend or know what to approve or be able to look to as it relates to that? Well, that's where they look at all of us. So what we do, and we do it constantly, it's a continuous effort on our part, is to do what we call charrettes, where we sit around a room and we talk about where we're at today, what we need to do in today's environment, what we need to do in the next 2 to 3 years to ensure that we are a viable community in the market for the prospective residents that we all want to see continue to move into the village of Orchard Ridge, and what are some things that we need to look at that may be 5+ years down the road, because it takes at least that long to be able to go through the development process for that. So I know when we determined the solar field, that was many years in the making before you actually saw that solar field out in the area that we have to the side of the property. So yes, so we definitely look at that together. It's not National Lutheran coming to Shannon and the team and saying, here it is, this is what we need to do. It's definitely a collective effort, and we do involve residents as part of this as well through focus groups. Yes.
I've been here 8 years, and during that time, when I first came, there were very few rollators and wheelchairs. That's fine. I mentioned this fact only because of the extra wear and tear on carpets and walls. Now, my point is this: we see these fancy plans for the library and the current renovation, and then they're expanded. I don't know what kind of resident input went into that planning, but I, speaking for myself, maybe others will concur, that there was existing, prior to the start of the renovation, a need for carpet replacement, repainting of walls throughout, as well as carpets throughout the entire campus. A lot of, like the corner edges should have had, guards and molding put up. So we're a little bit more practical and I just want you to know that we look for the practical. We hope that some of the more common sense, lower level things like carpet replacement, painting will occur.
Ms. Price, I'll speak on that one too, because I will say during the planning phase for construction, even the renovation of the main lobby and the library, one of the things that we took into consideration was the wear and tear on the carpet, the tile, what hard surfaces have held up, what things do we not want to replicate when we do this that we know will have longevity within the community. I understand too there is definitely a need for protection on the walls, the corner bead, things like that do get beat up on a daily basis. These are things we're taking into consideration. The flooring that you'll see go in will be stuff that will be easy cleaned. You'll see more LVP, which we have in the apartments, which withstand more weight and wear and tear from rollators and traffic that goes over top of them. So when we make these decisions, we do absolutely look at what are we going to do, what's going to take us not into the next 5 or 10 years, but where are we going to be in 15 years with this, what's going to stand up, what will be easy to manage and to maintain. I know from my perspective, that was one of the things that I looked at, and I will say our architects and our contractors that we work with have been very opening in the planning phases of this. Whenever we do anything, those are the things we take into consideration. There is a lot of back and forth that have been going on for probably the last 2 years before we even got to the point where we are of what phase are we going to be in, what's going to be practical, how is this going to make sense. Those were also things that went into consideration when we looked at what is phase 1, and then we've added this phase 1B. It makes 100% sense to continue that into the library because we have continuous flooring. We're not going to have additional trip hazards with, connections to different flooring types, things like that. So, we really try to be as fluid as possible with the planning. We try to do what makes sense, and we try to do ultimately not what's just pretty or what's going to be more contemporary and modern and beautiful, but for me, what makes sense is that wear and tear. It can be pretty in the first year, but it's got to be beautiful 12, 15 years down the road still. So that was a great question. Thank you.
Cindy, you mentioned the board of directors, and we're very aware of prospective residents and new residents. I would just strongly suggest that TLOR, in terms of dining, serve board of directors and prospective residents the same meals we get.
We do have a very talented dining team. Okay, I understand what you mean by that.
Put the meals, I've been with prospective residents, and I've heard about the meals served to the board of directors, and it was entirely different than what we get.
I have only been here 6 years, so I've been through 3 directors, but the bottom line, and my question is to you, Cindy, at no time in those 6 years have we as residents that I know of been asked for input in terms of the kinds of changes we'd like to see. And I wonder if there's a vehicle for that.
Yes, and it could be just that you were not able to be a part of the process, but we absolutely do have a process where we get resident input. I remember the regime prior to Susan, John Markwood was the president at the time. We had a survey that went out to residents. I remember because it was a paper form, and I had to look at all the paper and try to correlate all the responses and comments. We had a series of questions that we asked residents about what you were looking for, the attributes you were looking for in an executive director. We collated all of that. We had a group of the resident officers involved in the interviewing. So I will say to you, in the hiring process of Stephen, I personally wasn't involved in that, but I can attest to the past when I have been involved and residents have been involved. And I will dust off the process that I remember to ensure that it continues going forward.
That really wasn't the question.
Oh, I apologize.
The question wasn't about an executive director. It was about the things that change here, the ways that things are done.
Pretty loud. Okay. The changes that occur and so on and so forth, not personnel.
Oh, I apologize, I misunderstood.
But we've never, to my knowledge, at least since we've been here for 6 years, been asked what we'd like to see. And the changes that now, I have to say, Sarah, where are you? The outdoor, that's a big plus. But in terms of, has there been resident input to the T4 board?
So I'll mention a couple of things that I'm aware of, or forums by which that should happen. The biggest forum is your resident association and your committees. Your cluster reps, your committees. Residents should all be able to funnel any changes, thoughts that they see, or ideas through those channels within the resident association. The second thing was right on the top of my head. Oh, the second area that should be happening is through the budget process. We do ask for resident input as it relates to what you would like to see as in terms of your experience going forward to ensure that we are budgeting appropriately, whether it's through our operational budget or our capital budget. And I'm not saying to you all that every idea that we ever receive from a resident is able to be put into a budget, but it sure does give us information that if we start to see that there's more than one resident asking for this, that we can do a little more due diligence to determine if we can have the financial resources to make the change or to implement whatever's being requested. I imagine that you all understand that some of the things that challenge us, if I can use the word challenge loosely, is the fact that we are also very sensitive to your monthly fees and how much you pay each month and what the increases could potentially be in the upcoming years, depending on what the cost is of certain changes. So that's why we work intimately with the Resident Finance Committee, we work with the Resident Association officers, and we do our best to be sure that we do understand what you all want in your community, in addition to what we do to ensure the viability of this community going forward for the new residents coming in.
I'd like to piggyback on that a little bit, Cindy. I know in the 4 years that I've been here, resident input has always been incredibly important in every decision we've made. The renovations we've done, the construction projects we've done, the committees that we have, and even more so in the last 2 years, just doing what we can to bridge that gap. between resident input and, what we end up doing. I think it's incredibly important, and I think that we put a lot of emphasis on that. I think more so than anywhere I've ever worked, honestly. I think that, as far as our construction project goes, I'm gonna look at that one here, that, a lot of the changes that we've made, a lot of the fluid things that we've seen with this project have been because of recommendations, has been because of the committees, things that we've talked about, having that relationship, with residents, the input that we get. We do bring that back. We do take those things into consideration. And a lot of times it does end up being the drivers for what we ultimately end up doing, with anything that we have here. And I think that's safe to say with, each department, as far as from a corporate level, from a corporate standpoint, from a board standpoint, I think it's incredibly important, and it has something that's been done. Susan and Ann, I've sat with them on many projects, over the last few years. We've looked at finishes for the project that we have here in the lobby. We took those things into consideration, so it had a lot of input. So I just, wanted to follow up on that and piggyback on what Cindy said.
If I may, I am going to have to excuse myself for another meeting I need to attend, but I have one other announcement I should mention to you all, just as it relates to National Lutheran Communities and Services. The Village at Providence Point in Annapolis, the project that we have yet to break ground, I am happy to report that we are absolutely as close as we've ever been to breaking ground. We did win at the appellate court about 3 weeks ago, and we are now working through all the processes we need to look at a closing sometime in the fall with a groundbreaking shortly thereafter. So wanted to make sure you all knew that, because I'm sure you've heard some different updates in the past as it relates to the Village of Providence Point, but that is something we're most proud of as well coming up.
Thank you. I just wanted to say one last thing as we close today, and I just wanted to say thank you to everybody. Oh, we have another question?
I wanted to make a statement that, like Mrs. Burry said, there are times when there is a professional or someone with good background in a topic could have been called. Gordon and I were called finally to the library in a private session with Stephen after the architects and all made the pictures. We were able to make some changes to the library, but not as much as if we would have been called at the time before the pictures were done.
Thank you. Any other questions? All right, we'll go ahead and conclude for today, but I did just want to say thank you to everyone here. I wanted to say thank you to all the residents, all the team members, and for the support you've given, all of us over the last several weeks. We've been able to get through this because we're in a good place, because we have a very strong team of leaders here, and I appreciate all the feedback that you have. It means a lot to have your support behind us. So thank you. Have a lovely Friday.